Let me tell you, folks, when it comes to TV, I take it seriously. That's why I've got my notebook right here, full of everything I thought so far on The Bachelor in Paradise. I had never seen this show up until today. I swear, hand on heart right now, I have never seen The Bachelor. I didn't quite know what to expect. What I understand is that Bachelor Nation is huge. It's massive. It's bigger than some of the egos of the men in this season. It is effing-gantic, and I wanted to see what all of it was about. So I actually had a friend recommend me to watch Bachelor in Paradise, so I thought, okay, I'm going to give that a go tonight. So I sat down after dinner, put it on the TV, I watched it with my partner, and we had a whale of a time. I am going to run through all of my thoughts, because like I said, I've got a lot to say. Right, before we get started, folks, if you are new around here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'll be breaking down Bachelor in Paradise every single week this season, and I can't wait to see how things unfold. So if you want to be here for the mayhem, hit the subscribe button, and also hitting the like button really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. So there's two things there, folks: subscribe, like, and let's break down The Bachelor in Paradise. Let me open my book. I look like a real professional right now. So immediately, I was blown away by how luxury this thing is. I know Paradise is in the name, but when it comes to reality shows, it's anything but usually. But the house looked fantastic. Iguanas everywhere. Not sure quite why, but we're going to go with it. But we first are introduced to Spencer. I'm going to close this book because I can talk about Spencer for ages right now. I like this guy. And listen, like I said, I've never seen any of the previous seasons, because I also quickly came to realise that Bachelor in Paradise is people who've been on The Bachelor before coming back for another shot at love, some of whom were engaged. It's going to be messy. It's only the first episode. That's what blew me away as well. The fact that these people have been engaged, potentially won The Bachelor, and now they're back for more. But Spencer, I like this guy. He's goofy. At first, I was a little bit conflicted, maybe a little bit confused by who he was. But then I think it came quickly apparent to me, because I didn't know if it was one of those dudes who was, trying to be something he wasn't and try and put on like a little bit of a goofball facade. But I feel like I quickly came to realise that's not Spencer. That is who he is. Like he actually seems like a sweetheart. I've got to say, and I'm going to obviously talk about the rest of the episode as we go on, but he seems like the most genuine person in the entire cast, which I love. I love that. And he was the centre of attention for a lot of this episode, especially when we got to all the Jess and Sam stuff later. Oh, I feel like a season pro already. But first, of course, I've got to give my first opinions on the rest of them. So I'm going to talk about the next person. Alex. Very, very sweet girl. She is so pretty. She is so pretty. And she brought a llama in on her last season. Whatever the hell that was about. Can y'all give me a bit of context on that? It made me... Listen, somebody waltzing in with a llama... That's enough to make me like him. So Alex already, I'm off to the races with her. She's fantastic. She seems fun. Apart from the ass soap. The ass soap, folks. Usually the phrase is don't drop the soap. Alex seems to embrace both. Dirty. Filth. Dirty. Apart from that, she's lovely. First impression of Lexi, very quiet. That's pretty much all I've got to say about Lexi so far. So for now, I'm going to stay quiet as well on Lexi and try and forget about the ass soap that is still just, it's there. Ass soap. It doesn't leave. This is perfect opportunity for like a sponsorship for soap, so we can wash the sins away of the ass. So if there's any soap companies watching, y'all know my email. Jeremy is the next person we're going to talk about. Jeremy comes from Jen's season. What I noticed was a lot of people said they came from Jen's season. I'm going to leave this up to Bachelor Nation right now to tell me, but is Jen's season a big one? Is it a famous one? Is it one that a lot of people talk about? Because it seems like a lot of people came from that season. So, Jonathan, again, similar to Lexi, didn't leave much of an impression on me at first. It felt like the walls were up a little bit. Again, going to talk about Jonathan more as we go on. But this is the person I'm going to have a lot to say about. Bailey. Now, Bailey, she's gorgeous. She's beautiful through and through. But she seems like... I don't necessarily... feel like she's gonna find love this season. And I don't want to jump to any kind of conclusion there, but I got the impression that everything is very surface level with her. Her intro package was basically her talking about how she wants somebody to take selfies with. I'm no genius, but I feel like if you are looking for love, I feel like selfies isn't always a requirement. I get it, it's a nice thing, of course. Anybody wants to take selfies with the person that they love, but it feels like that is her sole focus. Like, it feels like she cares a lot about appearances rather than actual connection. I'm going to break that down even more when it comes to the rose ceremony. Boy, oh boy, nobody told me about how good a rose ceremony is. I've been sleeping on this. Like I said, never seen The Bachelor before, but these roses, oh boy, this is... I like this rose ceremony. I'm going to be looking forward every single week to this thing. So Jeremy, I did not like Jeremy to start with, or to finish with, for that matter. Jeremy made me cringe. He's kind of like, hi guys, like he was sitting like, one of the women came in, oh, she's so hot, bro. Like, get lost. I'm sorry, no. But the next guy, Hakeem, he had a strong first impression on me. I loved his energy at the beginning. Put a pin in that. At the beginning. Just grab a little pin, put it there. The beginning. He's a lot. He's on, isn't he? He's on. Does he turn off, folks? Someone tell me. He seems on all the time. But I did think, as a result, when he first walked in, he came across like a smoothie. He seemed like, cheeky chap, smooth, also nice person. The edit changed on him as the episode went on, to say the least. But Hakeem definitely left one of the biggest first impressions on me. After the ass soap, I would say that Hakeem he left the biggest impression on me after that. But it's one of those things, you can't really contend with ass soap. It's an unheard of contender. So what can you do, Hakeem? You can try to get your personality across, but when there's somebody who washes their face with the same soap they wash their ass with, it's hard to recover from that one, buddy. Jess was the next person we were introduced with, and she had the dad jokes immediately, and 100%, it was like my mind just went, Spencer, Jess, meet each other, hello, let's have marriage and kids. That's kind of the vibe I got almost immediately off those guys. There was law there. We got ourselves a good old love triangle. I'm excited to talk about all this. Kyle was the next person that went into Paradise, and all I know about this man is that on his previous season he pulled out a jockstrap. That was a jockstrap, right? I saw one of the ladies say from the window, is that a jockstrap? I assumed it was. He seemed like I guess he didn't make it very far in his season. For obvious reasons, man. I'll tell you what though, jockstrap versus ass soap, we've got a hell of a battle going on there. It was very funny. Nobody seemed to really care about Kyle when he first walked in. They were like, who's this guy? Where does he come from? Where'd you go? Where'd you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Like, they did not know who he was. What's this guy's name? Can you remind me? Kyle? Oh, hi Jeff. No, Kyle. Like, that's the energy that it had. He struggled to establish himself, I think, at first, but that's what you get when you pull a jockstrap out on the first date. Although some people would be into that kind of stuff, so who am I to judge? Zoe is the next one. She is beautiful. She is, wow. She has an amazing smile. That's something I picked up on. My partner said the exact same thing while sat right next to me. And she was also on Grant's season. A lot of people talking about Grant's season. A lot of people talking about Jen's season. I'm interested by that. I'm so looking forward to getting to know all the law in Bachelor in Paradise. I am taking this to like a moth to a flame, or like Asta Soap. I'm gonna have this. I'm not gonna let this go, am I? She was giving bombshell. I've seen a bit of Love Island in my days, in my 23 years, and she was giving. Do you know when they send the hottie of the century in and everyone goes jaw drop? She was awesome. I liked Zoe a lot. Ricky, next guy. Wow, great first impression. Liked him a lot at first. My opinion changed more on Ricky than anybody by the end of it. He went from soap to ass. I did not like him at all by the end of it. But Ricky, he had an amazing smile. I love that straight away. I love the whole Puerto Rican papi thing that he was saying about himself. Lots and lots of energy. Brilliant. Brian, my friends, Brian. Oh brother. Brian, he is full of himself, and it seems like his mommy has made him feel that way, and he hasn't let it go. He just comes across as... I don't know if this word's big in America, but in the UK I think we say the word smarmy when someone comes across a little bit like full of themselves and a little bit out of touch. You know, it's almost like the used car dealership salesman. That's the vibe I get from him. But you know, like I said, it sounds like his mom has told him he can do no wrong in this world, and as a result he applies that to his ego. And that's a tale as old as time, ladies and gentlemen. But he said that it was so funny when he walked in. There was one quote that I put down that I had to talk about. He said, "Let's not turn everyone off too fast." He had turned everybody off before he even stepped out the damn car. Well, I say that. That wasn't true, because Zoe seemed to turn some attention to Brian later in the episode. But yeah, Brian, bad first impression, but it seems like he's a polarizing character, and as a result, I am guessing, y'all can tell me because I'm sure the people who are watching this right now, Bachelor Nation, you guys watch every single season. Teach me the ways, teach me. I want to know what's going on there with Brian, because Brian, he's a no-go for me so far. Maybe he'll grow on me, but that's just my first impression opinion of him. Okay. Kat, another big personality. Seems like she got a lot of lashings from her previous season. We saw a little segment there where she was talking about getting bullied on social media and how she landed into therapy. A lot of stuff there to unpack with Kat, but it seems like she's a very dominant personality, very alpha personality, and she's perfect for reality TV. I just know she's going to be in drama by the end of the season. I'm a seasoned viewer, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know who are watching right now. I love me some Big Brother, and for me, drama on Big Brother gets me through the summer, and drama on any other reality show gets me through the year. And I'm sure Kat is going to bring that. But do I like her? That's a whole other story. But will she bring drama? I'm sure she will. A face I recognised was somebody, because I've watched the occasional season of Dancing with the Stars in the US. Miss Hannah Brown. I recognised her from Dancing with the Stars a few years ago. So I know nothing of her on The Bachelor. But I was like, that's Hannah from Dancing with the Stars. I know you. You made it to the finals on Dancing with the Stars. But now seems to be part of Paradise. I kind of love that. I think that's great. Hannah seems very, very sweet. I liked her while she was on Dancing with the Stars, and she seems just as lovely on this as well. So that was cool to see a familiar face there. But yeah, that was the first lot of people that moved in. We obviously saw some more people moving in the episode, but yes, that's my first impressions of the first lot of people in the Bachelor in Paradise cast. A quick realization I came to, because like I said, I'm not one for dating shows that much, but wow, I felt like I was watching a BBC nature documentary with the blokes on this show. Fellas, guys, as Americans say. All the above. I use all the names. Wow. It was like watching animals at a watering hole. Like, you know, they were dipping down to eat their food, but then the second, you know, you could hear two people from the animal kingdom mating behind you. You're like, oh, everyone's like meerkats. Genuinely, it was fascinating. Like, I know that sounds weird, but genuinely, we are animals as humans, and that's what it was like watching. It was like watching a nature documentary, and yeah, it was. I almost felt like the walls were up between the guys. They really did not want to let each other in because they all had the same thing in mind. They wanted to get with these ladies, these beautiful ladies, and they weren't going to let each other get in the way of that. And that's only drama waiting to happen. That's toxicity waiting to overload. But listen, love knows no bounds, and neither does drama when it comes to these kind of shows. So that's something I've already clocked onto, that these men are going to get really with each other as the season goes on. Now, Justin, this new guy that shows up, I don't know all the lore, but I think he might still, maybe just a little bit, just a tiny bit, might be hung up on Susie. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I get the vibes that his heart is still in San Francisco with Susie. He really seems to be trying to mask and project that he is over her. Like I said, I don't even know who Susie is, but Susie was talked about enough this episode for a liable enough case to say that he is still fully, maybe not fully, but there is a lot of feelings still there for this Susie character. You'll tell me who Susie is, but that's the vibe I get. And I as things were going on there with Justin, because he obviously went on his date later in the episode with Lexi, I felt sorry for Lexi almost. And she also talked about how she felt like she goes for guys who tend to be still hung up on the ex. It's all just a little bit of history repeating. That's exactly what I am seeing right there. Just like the prophecy foretold, Jess and Spencer seemed to hit it off like there was absolutely no tomorrow. I loved that. It felt like a couple of goofballs in love. That's literally what it felt like. I know the L word is very early here right now, in this season, but their personalities meshed like nobody else's this episode. The most electric partnership so far. Was a little bit touch and go for a second, but I definitely see them two going a long way. I was scared for a second, I will say that. The editing definitely made it seem a certain type of way that we're going to get to, but Jess and Spencer, they're vibing. And I get the vibe from Spencer. Definitely seems like the most down-to-earth person, I think, and down-to-earth's the wrong word to use, but he seems the most ready for a relationship is actually how I would say it. He seems ready to settle down. He seems like he knows what he wants. A lot of these folk don't know what they want, and I'm sure the casting team do that totally on purpose, because when people don't know what they want, that's when chaos ensues. Alright, so I was waiting for Hakeem to make a move on someone, and I wanted to see more of his personality from when he walked in. And when he wrote that little note that he gave to Bailey, I thought that was very sweet. And then Bailey's face was priceless, folks. She wanted nothing to do with it. She was not interested in him whatsoever. And the face she pulled was surely someone managed to. I'm sure if I go on Twitter, somebody's screen grabbed that already, and it'll be doing the rounds as a meme. But wow, facial expressions don't lie when it comes to Bailey, and she wanted absolutely nothing to do with him. And it was so awkward as well when they went to chat away, and Hakeem was saying, is your social battery drained? Like, that's the worst sign of all, isn't it? When you're in the middle of a date and you have to ask somebody, is your social battery drained? And they say, no, I just kind of want to hang out at the pool. That's like saying, hi, thanks for having me, but please don't invite me back. That's the exact vibe it was. It was the sparks were not there at all. Nor were the selfies for Bailey, so that wasn't going to work out anyway. Okay, moving on, folks. I'm so happy with my little notebook that I've got for this season. It's helping me really take all this in, and like I said, like watching a nature documentary, I'm making notes as this amphibian approaches the other. We see facial expressions that indicate they do not want to mesh. As we move on over here, we see a more aggressive form of mammal, and that's literally what it was like watching. And I don't know, I was blown away by the social dynamics of it. It's very different to anything I'm used to watching. Survivor and Big Brother, it's a different beast. Very different beast, but I'm welcoming it. I'm really welcoming it, and I'm enjoying it a lot. Dale arrived on the beach, and it looked like Christmas came early for those girls. Wow, wow, wow. Santa Claus, Dale Claus, whatever you want to call him. It was like he brought a big sack of presents, but it might have been a sack of something else onto that beach. And those girls were very, very excited. They wanted to open up those presents and drink those milk and cookies. I was absolutely shocked. He was the one who captivated them more than anyone. He had their attention immediately, and I don't know. He just seems like the whole package for some of those girls, especially Kat. Jealousy started to show very, very, very fast. I predicted that Kat was going to be in drama this season, and while she and Dale had a really good episode together, they really hit it off. They were on that boat together. That was a roller coaster in itself. She was talking about, he's got my hand on my thigh. Listen, things were further than the thigh there, folks. That was, the soap earlier. It was the soap's friend. That's where the hand was, right? That they were. But will it last? That's the real question. I don't. These shows, and y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, but these shows have a way of throwing twists in and adding new people in, where it really tests a relationship. I don't see anything that's super solid yet, so things are gonna rock over these next few episodes. I'm sure everything's gonna look completely different by the end of the season, but I'm sure over the next few episodes things are gonna be in a completely different space, because these relationships so far seem very surface level, but that's a given. They've known each other 3 days, and bonds aren't always incredibly strong after 3 days. Sometimes they can be, and that's when you're onto something. But there are several relationships, I'd say over 50% of the people who were paired up by the end at the rose ceremony, where I could easily say in 3 episodes' time they're going to be like strangers on the other side of paradise to each other. Or some of them will be on the plane back to the US. But that's the nature of this kind of show, I'm guessing. Y'all can tell me right now, people who watch Bachelor in Paradise every single season, is it going to get spicier? Let me know in the comment section below. We need to talk about Jonathan. Well, we don't need to, but I'd like to. Jonathan seems like he's got his walls up. I don't know if I'm the only person who read into that, but it seems like he maybe is somebody who takes a little while to break down those walls. Because I felt like even when talking to the guys and to the girls, both of them, I felt like I wasn't seeing the real Jonathan. I felt like he's a sweetheart underneath there. That's not to. I'm not saying he's hiding anything bad. I think he's a sweetheart under there. I really get nice vibes off of him. I didn't in the first, say, half an hour, but I'd say by the end of the show I was like, okay, this man's a sweetheart. I want to see more of Jonathan. I feel like I need more of a personality check on him. I'm interested to know what he was like in previous seasons. I feel like the most important thing this episode that Jonathan had wasn't his connection with any of the girls, but his connection with Spencer. That was the bromance of the episode for me. So much so I thought they were going to offer each other a rose at one point. They were very, very friendly with each other. I'm joking, but they do seem like they have a very sweet friendship, and I want to see more of that as the season goes on. Zoe was talking about how frail the male ego is. The edit this season, I say this season because I don't know if the edit's the same every single season, but the edit in this show is marvelous. They do some fascinating stuff with this edit, and it transitioned from her saying that the male ego is very frail, and then it went boom. We saw this argument of Hakeem and Ricky, and wow, it was just like Zoe said. I was in disbelief, actually, because I was high on Ricky when he first walked in, but he gave very insecure vibes at that point. He was, he called Hakeem vanilla, which, and he's saying you can't take the joke, but like, he wasn't doing that as a joke. You could totally tell that Ricky's feelings were really butthurt by the game that they had played, where they put these stickers on and said, not for me, or yes, I want to have kids. It was very, very telling on how his ego felt rejected and small. Very, very small. And it just kept going on and on and on and on and on. Hakeem's making absolutely no inroads with the women, and Ricky has tanked his chances here with the rest of the ladies because of the way he came across as incredibly fragile there in his masculinity. It doesn't look good on anyone, folks. And wow, it was good though. It was good drama, wasn't it? Who doesn't love a good bit of drama? I feel like I watch a lot of Big Brother, like I said, and it feels like you've got to wait for the kettle to boil sometimes for the drama to happen. People are, minding their P's and Q's and on their best behaviour, and then maybe 7 weeks in, things blow up. No, not Bachelor in Paradise, folks. They were not messing around. Ricky was throwing a tantrum. Hakeem didn't know what to do with it, and everybody looked like they wanted to leave the island there and then. That again, like I said, that was one of the best parts of the episode, and it really was, again, like I've been talking about the nature documentary, it's a fascinating look into the psychology of these people. And as far as I'm concerned, Ricky's ego is that big, but it feels like he's compensating for something that big. Oh, you know what I mean. Now, the last person that was introduced via motorcycle, it wasn't Tom Cruise, but it was Sam. Sam arrived on the beach and he was ready to spill out his emotions. No, that was not the case. If only. He'd still be there, wouldn't he? He seemed, again, like the walls were up. The walls were up. It sounded like he was a villain on his previous season. He didn't do himself any favours, I don't think, personally, in this villa. Sorry, I say the villa because I've seen a bit of Love Island. That's why I'm saying that. But no. Move over, Love Island. Tom's a bachelor boy right now. I'm not really a bachelor boy. I'm actually married. Sorry, Sam. I'm sorry. I need to stop saying villa. I'm a Bachelor in Paradise boy. This show is fantastic. Seriously. I didn't realise how much they could pack into a premiere episode. With these shows, it's always, you introduce people in the first episode and you're kind of like, nah, this one was not messing around. I'm into this. Spencer felt 100% threatened, and rightfully so, when Sam waltzed in. Jess was actually being swept away, and the edit made it look like she probably had feelings for him. By the end of it, I feel like it was almost like it was just like a fling with Sam. Maybe it was a nice night out of, giving each other, because they were pretty much scrubbing each other in the tub on that date. That was, that was something that, wasn't it? It's given like the Victorian era. You got a sponge bath, then you write your thing on the fire, throw it in, and then it's supposed to burn for eternity for your love. But no, it literally burned the love. It didn't burn for eternity, it destroyed the love. They gave each other a sponge bath and wished each other on their kind way, just like the good old days in World War II. Like I said, Bailey is absolutely beautiful, and Kyle's pipeline from being the jockstrap man to ending up with Bailey is insane. That is something I didn't expect. Okay? But I will say though, Bailey, like I said, it seems like she values very surface level things over the deep connection, as evident in her decision at the end with the rose ceremony. I'm going to roast that a little bit later. I'm going to rose that, that a little bit later. Sorry, that was bad. Why did I do that? That was bad. Yeah, they seem to have a connection, Bailey and Kyle, and then also because I did think for a moment she would go with Kyle, but Bailey also had this base level connection with Jeremy. Bailey even said herself that she felt a deeper connection with Kyle, but she still chose Jeremy, only solidifying my opinion on what I thought. She said that she feels like there's the physical attraction with Jeremy and that, you know, they've made out and whatever. But with Kyle, I feel like we've had deeper conversations and he is what I'm looking for. But then she chose Jeremy. There's got to be some more thought to how that decision... Well, at least I hope there is. I hope it's not just who's going to look good on our Instagram after the season's over. I hope it's... Because that's the vibe I got from... With Spencer and Jess, I was worried for a second that Jess and Sam were going to go... Sam, I didn't like Sam as well. I'm sorry. I need to be honest there. I didn't warm to Sam. I warmed to Jess. I thought Jess was lovely. And I'm glad she went back to Spencer at the end. And I'm going to give all my feelings on that as we finish up the video shortly. But yeah, there was one point. Get this, because I've talked about this bromance, right? I've talked about this bromance between Jonathan and Spencer, and Jess is over there, you know, having a sponge bath with Sam, and in the jungle, and then all of a sudden we cut back to the hotel, and Spencer is panicking. He's worried, and we see this monologue, and he goes, "I have a connection that feels really good and really safe, and that is," and I thought he was going to say Jonathan. I really did, honestly, the way they were broing out. I feel like we saw Jonathan and Spencer spend more time together than Spencer and Jess. But I'll tell you what, the one bit of the edit that I loved, when Jess was trying to weigh, you know, who she was going to go with. She's going, "I've got Sam here, you know, he's giving me a sponge bath." I don't even know if it was a sponge bath. They were rubbing each other with some kind of toiletry. That was, you know, I don't know what you'd call that. I have to get used to all these things on The Bachelor in Paradise because I haven't seen these things before. But yeah, another thing I really loved was the opposite side of that, back at the sponge bath where, you know, Sam and Jess are scrubbing each other and writing sweet nothings into the fire. She is weighing out in her mind, do I go with this man who's rubbing my body with a sponge right now, or do I go with Spencer, the dreamboat? And then this 80s montage comes on where, you know, Spencer's flipping around with the glasses, and it's like, you know, and then it's him painting the heart in the sand. I love the editing. Editors, I love you. You are doing an amazing job, and if the editing keeps up this way, I'm going to love the rest of this season. That was very, very wholesome. So another thing I noticed, I was talking about how it's like watching a nature documentary. It's literally at the bar. The bar is the watering hole, you know, where all the elephants and the giraffes go, you know, the elder elephant. And I felt like Hakeem was like, you know, the old man in a retirement home. You know, he's drinking. Oh, what's going on over there? Oh, those lovebirds are kissing over there. What's going? Oh, they're kissing over there. It's been 59 years since I've had some action, but I'm gonna check out what's going on. That's exactly what Hakeem was giving. And by the end of the episode, the man was scrambling. He was scrambling. He was going over to her and saying, "You've got nice lips." He was going over to her saying, "You got nice hair." He was going over to her saying, "Please will you date me?" He was going over to her saying, "I don't want to go yet. Please date me." He wasn't really, but that's what it was given. Somebody give this man a gig on Big Brother or Survivor. He might not be cut out for The Bachelor in Paradise, but I like somebody on these competitive reality shows like Big Brother and Survivor who doesn't quit, you know, when it's all over. When it's all over, they still get themselves back up and they're doing anything and waving their hands to stay in the game. Bachelor in Paradise might not be for Hakeem, but I'm telling y'all, the casting team for Big Brother and Survivor, keep an eye on my boy Hakeem, because he would be a fantastic contestant. He just couldn't really find any love in The Bachelor in Paradise. Lexi and Justin finally got their date. For the record, absolutely no chemistry between them as of now. Maybe that can develop, but as of right now, nothing. You know, when you're in science class and you have to balance these equations and it feels glorious when you manage to do it and you get the A. It was the equivalent of not being able to balance the equation. It was adding this to this and the equation equaled to a big fat nothing. I didn't see any sparks between them. There was no sparks. I'll tell you what there was between them though, an elephant. And that elephant was named Susie. I still don't know about Susie, but boy oh boy, she's got presence this season, hasn't she? again, I need y'all to tell me who this Susie character is. I feel like I need more context on Susie. But wow, it was so funny. They tried to discuss the Susie situation, and they said the elephant has left the room. The elephant ain't left the room, folks. The elephant set up camp for the night, for the month, for the foreseeable future. Because I'm telling you, when Justin's looking at Lexi, all he's thinking of is Susie. One of the most interesting dynamics, if not the most interesting dynamic in the entire episode, was the love triangle. Jess was going to have to choose between Sam from the sponge bath and Spencer from the sitcom. That's what it felt like. That's, it was the S's. And Sponge Bath Sam, of course, Sponge Bath SquarePants was not picked in the end. He got sent home, and thank God. Seriously, I was so glad she chose Spencer. I wasn't sure for a second. I felt like the edit was really making it look like she was gonna go with Sponge Bath SquarePants, but I'm so glad she went with Spencer. I feel like there's so much more depth, and those two are the ones to watch, in my opinion. In my not expert opinion, those two are the ones to watch. I'll be an expert by the end of the season, but as of right now, folks, in my not expert's opinion, Jess and Spencer are the ones to watch. I'm so glad my faith was restored there when she went back to Spencer, because I felt like we were only at the tip of the iceberg with those, whereas with Sam, it felt like the depth only went as far as the sponge bath. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, folks? Like, that's going to be a rating going forwards in relationships. Do you have the depth of, an 80s love story together with Spencer? Or do you have the depth of a sponge bath? That's exactly what that was, folks. Let that sink in. 80s movie depth or sponge bath? I know which one I'd prefer. Alex was kind of all over this episode, but I like her a lot. She's very sweet, very pretty, very lovely, very bubbly, a very nice personality. I like her a lot, and I want her to go a long way. So when Ricky approached her, ooh. But also, I feel like a lot of the girls in the villa were like, I don't know if I want to be anywhere near this man. He showed that his ego was very, very, very big and very insecure about himself, the way he reacted earlier with the game. It's so funny how he was mocking Hakeem, saying he couldn't take a joke, when Ricky was clearly the person who was upset with a game, right? It's projecting 101, quite literally. It doesn't take a genius, I don't think, to realise that, and I've seen projecting in my time, and let me tell you, that was some of it. I found it fascinating, one comment that Alex made earlier. She says, I don't want to be with somebody who I can imagine being in a diaper. Ricky might as well have had a diaper on during that confrontation with Hakeem, because he was acting like a toddler. Let me tell you that. Alex, change the diaper and get rid of Ricky. Now, by the end of the episode, I saw my first rose ceremony, and I loved it. It felt like everything was leading towards this, and it made me so hype by the end of it to see what's going to play out for the rest of the season. But we had these decisions. Lexi chose Justin. Something I took note of was it was almost like a couple of bros being like, yep. That's exactly the vibe I get. He was like, I appreciate you. He might have well added a bro at the end. He went, appreciate you. And I'm like, he's just thinking about Susie. That's what that was. And that's just going to spill over the top as the weeks go on. Zoe chose Brian. Stay away from that man. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. The man was mewing throughout the entire rose ceremony. Brian, he's still with us? Sorry, I mean, I thought Duckface was in, the 2000s. I thought that was gone. Seems like the Kardashians have infiltrated this one. And Brian likes a bit of mewing. I think he probably likes mewing more than Zoe. But again, we will see as the season goes on. Kat chose Dale. That was a no-brainer. Kat is going to be drama this season. That's my prediction. And I think Dale is probably going to want to distance himself from it. Dale seems very level-headed. I could be wrong. Like I say, I'm just getting a gauge on these people from the edit that I've seen. Jess chose Spencer. Yes! Don't need to say anything more on that. Can't wait to see how that one develops. Bailey chose Jeremy. Only confirmed my suspicions that she's very surface level. She was talking about how Jeremy, she doesn't have as deep a connection with as Kyle, but then she chose Jeremy. He gave Jeremy the rose. Matched Jeremy's skin by the end of it. He was burnt up. My boy Jeremy looked like the rose. And Alex chose Jonathan. Again, she changed the diaper, sent Ricky out the door, and I think we're going to get to see more depth with Jonathan now. But really the thing I'm here for is the Jonathan and Spencer bromance. That's the thing I want to see develop over the season, and I can't wait to see how it goes. But yes, we lost Hakeem, Kyle, Sam, and Ricky. A lot of big personalities there, and it was a spicy first episode. I can't wait to see how this season goes on. Something that got me really excited was seeing the preview for next week. There are old-timers coming in. At first, they were strutting up the beach, and I was like, is this like a twist where they bring their parents in? No, we've got old-timers in this... Guys, why did nobody tell me about this? Why have I waited so long to watch this? I am the biggest advocate ever for older people on reality TV shows because they are the messiest, most unfiltered, amazing entertainment that anybody can ask for. And if we're sending in the Florida retirement home into this mess already, it's only gonna get better. I quickly realised that they are from the Golden Bachelor, and that excites me so freaking much. I thought it was going to be like two separate games, but I guess it seems like everything's in the same realm, because it seems like one of the younger men was having a good time with one of the older women. That feels like the perfect stepping off point. I think it's going to be a fantastic season, and I can't wait to see how everything pans out. Thank you to my wonderful notebook for getting me started on this season. Guys, I'm into the Bachelor in Paradise. I'm sold. I really can't wait to see how the rest of this season pans out and to give you all my commentary as the season goes on. These all seem like interesting characters. I'm sure they're all wonderful people in real life. All of my judgments right here are based off of the edit alone, and I can't wait to see how things are going to pan out. Please let me know who you are enjoying in the comment section below. I also feel like I want to be introduced more to what's going on in Bachelor Nation. If you all have any context you want to give me that you think would help my commentary for next week or for the upcoming weeks, don't be afraid. Say hi in the comment section, because I know there's going to be some of my Big Brother viewers who are here right now enjoying The Bachelor in Paradise, and I know there's also going to be new people around. So if there is, please say hi. I am so glad that you've joined this community, and I can't wait for the rest of this season. We've got old timers, and we've got young timers, and we've got drama. I couldn't ask for more. Imagine I've got a pina colada in hand right now. Cheers to y'all for what's going to be a great season. But folks, in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single last one of you. But don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. But until your next Bachelor in Paradise breakdown, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.